Season 3 of Jujutsu Kaisen is finally out, and if the first 2 episodes are anything to go by, this season's going to be an absolute banger as well. The end of the second season raised the stakes of the series to an entirely new level, with new enemies and the very fate of the world at stake. The first couple of episodes continue in the same vein as the full scope of Kenjaku's evil plan finally begins to manifest. The audience learns of something called the Culling Games, which is a bloody battle royale game of life and death. We're also briefly introduced to a set of rules that govern this game, but the episodes didn't really explain what these rules mean. It's not a stretch to say that these rules are downright confusing, since we're still in the beginning of the season. In this video, I'll attempt to break these rules down and make you understand what they truly entail so that you can approach this new season with much more clarity regarding what's happening in front of you. I'll also attempt to shed some light on what Kinjaku's true intentions are behind this nefarious blood sport. So join me as we explore the vast and complex world of Jujutsu Kaisen in an attempt to understand what truly is Jujutsu Kaisen's Culling Games and their rules. Let's begin. While the devastation we see in Shibuya at the end of the second season was on a scale unlike anything else seen before in the show, it was but a prelude to the chaos that Kinjaku was going to unleash upon Japan and the rest of the world. As the world deals with the loss of several powerful sorcerers, including Gojo Satoru, who's been locked within the prison realm, we watched Kinjaku unleash his master plan that he'd been cooking for apparently 1,000 years or more. He calls it the Culling Games, but before I tell you what this twisted game and its true purpose is, let me enlighten you a bit about Kinjaku's motivation behind it. For thousands of years, Kinjaku has existed, taking on different identities and committing atrocities after atrocities in the search for the true potential of the cursed energy. His acts originate from his belief that only by merging humans with cursed energy can one discover its absolute limits. Since sorcerers and cursed spirits are born with a certain amount of affinity to this energy, they're limited by their own potential. The answer must lie within humans, whose potential is a completely unknown factor. To test this theory, his first attempt was the creation of the Cursed Womb death portraits. However, the limitation that they faced was that they could only be as strong as his own potential because he created them. This is when he settled on the idea that he must breed an uncontrollable amount of chaos, which would lead to a situation ideal for his true desires of discovering the peak of cursed energy to manifest. However, being in the modern era, such acts needed to be forced. And this is why he initiated the Culling Game, which he constantly says will bring back the same bloodthirsty period like the Heian era. At the end of Season 2, we see that by extracting Mahito's ability using cursed spirit manipulation, he was able to cast idol transfiguration at a massive scale, transforming 2 sets of people into cursed technique users. The first were those who had taken in a cursed object, like Itadori Yuji. These cursed objects were basically remains of ancient sorcerers with whom he had made a binding vow, promising them to be awakened in a new era to continue their work. The second group was actually ordinary people who were reconfigured by the idol transformation into becoming real sorcerers. These individuals are then made to participate in a battle royale-style game until one person stands. Kinjaku has 8 rules in place at the beginning of the game, which dictate its flow. He also has numerous binding vows in place to set the game in motion, including one crucial rule that removes him as the game master. This means that even if he were to perish, the Culling Games would still continue till the very end. The first rule states that the sorcerers and the awakened sorcerers must enter the designated colonies within 19 days of the game's start. Japan has been divided into several colonies, and this rule is essentially there to force the participants to take part in the games. The second rule states that breaking the first rule will mean that their techniques will be forever removed from them. While this might not seem like much, I'll explain what this truly means a bit later in the video. This is yet another rule to ensure that the participants do not run away from the games, forcing them to play against their wishes. The third rule states that entering a colony makes somebody a player regardless of whether they are a sorcerer or not. This rule is activated whether the individual enters the colony knowingly or unknowingly. Kinjaku, with a larger volume of victims, it essentially means that everyone is free game, providing Kinjaku with a larger volume of victims for his infernal ritual. The fourth rule states that points can be earned by killing other players. It essentially dehumanizes the people involved, turning their lives into currency. This lets players view others as mere numbers meant to be reaped for their own benefits. Moving on to Rule 5, each player's life has a set amount of points. We know that this game was already a free-for-all deathmatch, but what makes Kenjaku's Culling Games absolutely chilling is the fact that not all lives are worth the same here, thanks to this rule. Killing a non-sorcerer is worth only 1 point, while if someone manages to take down a sorcerer, it's 5. This clearly also highlights how little Kinjaku actually values ordinary people, despite his trying to aid in humanity's evolution through cursed energy. What this also means is that players with larger accumulated points become focal points for attacks and strategy. The more you slay other players, the larger the target on your back due to the bounty you've accumulated. It makes room for teamwork and unlikely alliances to take down high-value targets, giving the games an extra element. The next rule, perhaps, is the most important one, in my opinion, because it opens up avenues to really add an unbelievable amount of depth in the game. It states that after accumulating 100 points, the player is allowed to add a single rule to the Culling Games. This gives incentive for people to stay on the hunt and gather more points so that they can add rules which will optimize their chances of survival while making things difficult for their competitors. Throughout the Culling Games, this is the rule that Yuji and friends attempt to exploit the most in order to create favorable loopholes amidst this crazy blood sport. As I said, even killing Kinjaku won't stop the games, so you'll see our heroes trying to manipulate the game by exploiting this 6th rule. The penultimate rule finally puts any chance of people exploiting the 6th rule to end the game or change its nature to bed, as it explicitly forbids the creation of any new rules in this regard. Lastly, the 8th and final rule ensures that there is no camping or AFKing in this game, because doing so for 19 days will automatically result in the concerned player being stripped of their Jujutsu powers. This means that players have to be constantly accumulating points, which in turn means killing and battling. Now, to explain why the removal of one's power is actually a big deal. People like Sumiki Fushiguro, who have awakened after being granted Jujutsu power, were either at the verge of death or comatose before awakening with powers. It could mean that they return to that same fate, or worse, they simply die. This rule ensures that there is no way for someone to rat their way to the final stages of the game without killing or being killed. As the games go on, we also learn a lot more about it from Lord Tengen himself. He reveals that when Kenjaku cast the idol transformation, he didn't actually transform everybody into a sorcerer, as he claimed. This is because he simply does not have the requisite cursed energy to do that. Instead, it was a cover-up for the Culling Games, whose entire purpose is to generate that level of energy and have humanity merge with Tengen, creating a new species of being that transcends ordinary humans, sorcerers, and cursed spirits. The energy created from such an act would spill out of Japan and over the world, creating a chain reaction and forcing the entire world's population to evolve. The ongoing season will surely see tons of battles between both old and new characters alike, as the blood flows freely during the Culling Games. I hope with this video you're now able to fully grasp what the rules really mean and the stakes here at play as the season unfolds. Tell us what you are looking forward to the most in this new Jujutsu Kaisen season in the comment section below, or let me know if I missed anything in my explanation. Thanks for sticking around to the very end of this video. Hope to see you soon in the next one. Until then, stay safe and stay marvelous.